really cool. Okay, rolling again. You were talking about
the absolute elsewhereness of being I was talking about, which is a dimension of being which is, we are using such a small portion of our brains. This is almost another dimension of being. It's like, there's so much dark matter in the universe, but one is only aware, and one perceives things with a rather limited apparatus of a sensory apparatus, which obviously we can't see certain frequencies of light, and we can't hear beyond a certain range of sound, etc., etc. And it's the same, of course, much deeper with everything that has been termed spirit, soul, etc., and the divine, the connection to the divine that each and every human being has is like having a pilot light on, but the switches are very often not done. One remains unaware or not, and one thinks one needs an intercession of some sort to access that kind of thing, and one is led to believe that after earthly life one will discover such and such a dimension. But it is necessary to access, to be aware that these things are accessible right here and now, providing one is able to find the right switch and throw the right switch, as it were. And that's one, I've written about it, I've published things about this, and so on and so forth. And what I have loved in my own life, and that's now speaking from personality number one, that's the official oneself, I found it very convenient to wear masks, because there are certain things you don't want to be talking about with others who have no possible, having no knowledge of that. It's like talking about some country that nobody ever suspects even exists. And so one is fighting a losing battle if one attempts to talk about these matters, especially in general human intercourse. So you want to. And with women, I found with a lot of, I was once accused by a famous friend in print of, he did master of the dark arts and the esoteric and all that, all in the service of a leg over. Not to quote him any further, it was Keith Richards in his book Life. And I said, but I chuckled to myself, and I said, because I thought, well, that's exactly what I didn't do, because I never wanted, I always wore defiantly the Playboy Prince mask instead, which was much more fun. Oh no, I like fast cars and this and that, but I know nothing of these other things, or I wouldn't talk about it. A friend of mine who was only interested in that other side of me, in other words, in the, let's call it, esoteric side, and who was interested in my published works on alchemy and so on, was here once, many, many years ago, perhaps 30 years ago or so, and there was a party here, and there was a woman that he was talking to about me, and he was saying, yes, his works on alchemy, and she said, I've known him for such a long time, I never knew he was interested in that, because it was kept very much close to the chest.
Yeah. So it's like you reveal different aspects of yourself to different people, and sometimes you don't want to go to that depth. Or
Yeah, you do if you're, because, talking about those esoteric matters is, if you don't have a connection to the audience has come to hear you because they had nothing better to do, it is like a battery draining. It's a drain of energy to speak on those terms to people who are not really paying that much attention. They've come out of the rain when you're on book tours and things like that, and it's very different when you are asked to speak in. I've always refused speaking engagements for the most part. For such reasons, they think, oh, what's the point? Don't want to do it. And years ago, I was in Santa Monica, and there used to be next to Fred Siegel a shop called the Phoenix Bookstore, which was an occult bookstore. And I walked in, I was looking for, and this guy recognized me and said, the manager, who subsequently became a very good friend, but then at the time he after I bought something and browsed and been there for a while, he gingerly approached me and he said, do you ever lecture on alchemy? No. Do you want to? No. and he was so, he went, but it's in Malibu. And then I, being a Libran, I conceded. I said, well, I do live in Malibu. And then the guy got me to sort of, exploited this weakness, and he got me committed. And I was racking my brains. How can I get out of this engagement? When the fellow at whose house this talk was going to take place rang me. And over the phone in our conversation, I was absolutely amazed, because he was one of the rare people in this world that I found that I could actually talk to on that level. Because he was also a collector, a bibliophile, and a person who had researched these matters. He was a well-known actor, but he was an artist as well, and personality. One was he made his money as a successful actor, and he was also able to paint. His father had been a painter and all that. And so when I went over there, I was very reassured. I thought, oh, okay. And when I went there, there was a lot of people, and I still was a bit shying away from this thing. But when I stepped into this room, there was this extraordinary vibration coming from these works of art, and there were lots of people in the audience, and it turned out to be much more of a dialogue than just delivering a lecture to people. There was a give and take, and it was very, very stimulating. That's how I got to belong to a sort of hermetic salon in Malibu, and this artist became my very best friend here, and we spent a lot of time one-on-one, because one is able to actually explore states of being and states of mind which are, it's difficult to have conversations at that level. The conversation, I feel very comfortable having this conversation with you at this moment, because the wonderful Sam Morris, who will join us, is somebody that you can also, who is, due to his extraordinary circumstances, he's someone who is able to give voice to these things and who has this extraordinarily broad-minded way of looking at things. And it's a great privilege to know such people. And I thank you for being here, because it is sharing, to attempt to share these things with somebody whose vibration is, if you will, because everything is energy, if we're not able to mesh with the person who interviews one is sort of rather reticent, and the words don't come out. The comfort and the inspiration is that one is able to try to give voice to things that are very hard to speak about, because they belong to the world of silence somehow, in truth.